Hello, this is Achilleas Kokkinakis, and you are listening to the Marvel Card Collectors podcast.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ian Taylor, and you're listening to the Marvel Card Collectors podcast, your weekly digest of hobby goodness. There is a great cast of characters this week, and by that I mean character collectors in the house. Joining me this week are two fine Southern belles. First up, the artist known as Roll With Them, who in real life goes by the handle Barry Brunette, and his noble brother in cards is Alan Beauchamp. Welcome to you both.
Hey, glad to be here.
Thank you.
Right. So before we get into it, Barry, hang on. Who was it? Whose post was it where they announced that they were going?
It was mine.
Was it yours? Right.
Yep.
Tell us about that post. What was it about? What did you post?
Well, I just annual's kind of winding down. I've knocked out the suspended animation finally. So I'm starting to work on the goals. That train is slowly pulling into the station, and I was like, well, I'm gonna need something to fill in the gap because truthfully, I'm not into the MCU sets really, and there's nothing else really kind of catching my eye. So I was like, you know what? Maybe this would be good time to get into character collecting. And so, I kind of sat down and thought, Bishop from the 90s cartoon days, that was my guy right there. That was my dude. I was like, you know what? He's not too high up there to where it should break the bank, but he's not so obscure to where, one or two sets I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
And so I settled on Bishop, and I just made it official and began.
Wow. Okay. Good. And in the comments of that, I can't remember who commented what. Was it you, Barry? Did you post something and then I responded to it?
That sounds right.
Sounds right.
Yeah.
Sounds right. And I rather foolishly promised to show you some of the secret sauce of character collecting, because you had all kinds of questions in the comments, and so I thought, let's do a character collecting secrets episode. And here we are. So you guys have come up with some brilliant questions, which we will get into. But Barry, who's your character or characters?
Well, Daredevil is my number one and has been since I was about 7 years old. Like most of us here, I spent a lot of time in comic book shops in the 90s, and I honestly don't remember whether I got into Marvel cards or comics first, but for all I know, it might have happened the same day. But basically, at the time, I was living a rather sheltered and very Catholic Southern existence. And at that time, kind of, it was interesting to me that there was this superhero that experienced all this Catholic guilt after he beat up everyone. Going to his priest and confessing all of his sins after his heroics. I knew immediately that was my guy.
Brilliant. And so, have you been collecting Daredevil cards since that fateful day in the 90s?
No. So, I think a lot of people in the hobby, I kind of burnt out maybe in around 1995-ish in that area. I didn't know anything about 96 masterpieces, and then as the pandemic hit and, boredom kicked in, we were stuck in our house. And like a lot of people, I started looking at cards and realized, hey, there's modern sets that have come out, and I think it was around probably 2 or 3 months into the pandemic, I made my first eBay purchase, a set of 1990 MU, and I wanted to just kind of relive the childhood, and then Pandora's box opened from there, and I've been collecting ever since then.
My goodness. What about you, Alan? Where were you before? Because you mentioned you were at the tail end of Marvel Annual, and Marvel Annual this year is just a ton of fun. where were you before that in collecting? What's your kind of origin story?
Like Barry said, started back in the day. I probably I remember just vaguely 92, 93, 94 masterpieces and Filter X-Men somewhere around in the 90s because I have vague remembrance of 96 masterpieces. I just kind of checked out or something. To about probably before the boom, probably like 2017, I came back in. It's like, you know what? I want the sets that I couldn't get when I was young because, money and stuff. And I did that for probably a little bit, blew through all my funds, took a little break, and then came back January of this year and just went full bore into it.
Is that about the time you joined the group?
Yeah, it was shortly. I probably joined the group maybe about February, maybe early Marches, because I just started doing research and I came across the podcast and then heard y'all mention the group and I was reluctant because I was like, you know what, probably not going to contribute much because I am kind of a black hole. These are all my sets and they might, be with me forever. I kind of just collect what I need,
Yeah.
store it away so I can, go back and look at it. At some point, I might get rid of some stuff and pass it on. But then eventually I was like, you know what? Let me see what the community is about. And I don't regret one bit joining and just the access to things I wouldn't have access to and the people. I mean, just the community and the camaraderie and helping out. It's been great.
Yeah. I have to say it and the reason I'm kind of surprised it's like what 4 or 5 months now since you've been in the group. It's because it feels like you've been there forever because you're like a kid in a sweet shop and your posts are really positive and they're really cool and you're sharing lots of good stuff and I'm like,
Thank you.
yeah, so it's really cool, really cool. Okay, so character collecting. Now there's a whole load of questions that started off on a handwritten image that Alan sent over. And fortunately, Barry has not only added to that, but also typed up the handwritten ones that that Alan did. So there are I think you've got about 14 questions here, and they've all got loads of answers. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say this now for those listening on audio. There will be a lot of screen sharing and showing during this issue. I will do my best to describe it, but you might find it a richer experience after you've listened to the audio version, because don't just listen to it once, kids. Go and experience it twice. Once you've done the audio, have a look at the YouTube, because there's some stuff there, because I'm hoping this episode can be kind of a good resource for folks to come back to. And obviously for you, fine gentlemen as well. What else was I going to say? Before we go any further, talk to me. I think it was Barry. I think it was you suggested this. Talk to me about your choice of the intro artist for this week.
Yeah, well, don't make me pronounce his name, but
Shall I do that?
I would love that. Yeah.
Okay. And I think I've got this right. Achilleas Kokkinakis.
Achilleas Kokkinakis. Yes, he is. He kind of got on my radar. Alan mentioned not collecting any MCU sets. Well, I'm not really an MCU collector either. But when the Daredevil seasons 1 and 2 set came out, I had to have it for obvious reasons. And he was the #1 artist for me, collecting in that set because he was doing things that nobody else was attempting. He has sort of that comic book feel where he has those little triangles that protrude out into the sketch from different angles and different shots of villains and heroes, and his work is just so interesting. And I've never heard him talk in all the podcast episodes that I've listened to and YouTube clips. I'd never heard his voice, so I was excited to hear from him.
Well, I'd really like to get him on the podcast. Actually, he does very much like Tony and Elaine Perner, that he's got his own creator-owned card thing going on. I think it's Iconic Creations. So I'll pop that in the tasting notes. I have here my one Achilleas Kokkinakis sketch of my girl, Black Cat, from Dangerous Divas Series 2.
Nice, that's beautiful.
And it is astonishing. Just check out the border, because he does them like he did a whole run of them where they're like in a gilt frame.
Oh, he put the border? Oh, I
Yeah,
thought that was part
he
of the
drew that.
stock.
No.
Wow,
That's him. That's his
that is
style
nice.
for these
Yeah,
anyway.
his style, he creates these borders and these little cut panels, and I've seen a few of them that actually have conversation bubbles in
Yeah,
them. He's just, yeah, very creative artist.
yeah. It's ridiculously good, and they don't sign. They didn't have a space on the back for signing during the Rittenhouse days. Fortunately, it's unmistakably him. So yeah. So Achilleas Kokkinakis. I'll put some links in the show notes and on the YouTube video. So go and check him out. Right. Now I've got a kind of an order that I think these questions would be good to go on. So let's start with question number 2. Who wants to read that one out? Can you actually see the questions on Messenger, Alan? Sorry.
Yes, yeah, I do
Brilliant.
have them right here.
Right.
I'll take lead on that.
Go on then.
How did you choose your character?
Well, we already know Barry's answer. But Alan, I want to know because people have heard me say my answer, and I will give a brief recap of it in a moment. But Alan, you sat down and you thought, okay, I want to try character collecting. Was that a long drawn out process over many weeks and months of like angst ridden hand wringing, or did it come to you in a flash of inspiration or light from heaven?
Yeah, it was probably like a 5-minute process.
Okay.
But like I said, Bishop, that was my guy back in the '90s cartoon days, and how I kind of just gravitated towards him, just
Mm-hmm.
watching the cartoons and stuff, and of course he stands out because he's like me, person of
Mm,
color,
mm.
and so I just automatically just gravitated towards him, and I just loved him throughout, and I kind of kept my eye on him a little bit, but since he wasn't top tier like Wolverine, Captain America, and all that, didn't really do a lot. And I would see his cards throughout the sets and stuff, which I love most of them, love them
Yeah.
all. I definitely have all his stuff in my master sets from the '90s. And when I just decided to do the character like that, I was like, you know what? I'll just stay loyal to him because I had an
Nice.
attachment to him. Nightcrawler would probably be my second if I did need to fill in a little lull or something. But yeah, Bishop's going to be my main, and yeah, that's pretty much how I kind of. Sometimes I'm a spur of the moment person, and it's like, all right, I want to do this. All right, boom, right
Nothing wrong with
into
that.
it, jump.
Nothing wrong with that, my friend. It's you in the package that's winging its way to you right now. There may be a little bit of Bishop action.
Oh, oh, nice! I love surprises.
So yes, so that's all I'm going to say. So I mean, for me, I've talked about this before, but it was Spider-Man and Zoids, which was a UK issued reprint of Spider-Man stuff. Also had a Zoids comic strip, which was kind of like a toy robot thing. And that was really good, actually. I've reread that fairly recently. And it was reprinting Amazing Spider-Man from the 240s, 250s, that kind of realm. And so that's the first time I saw her as a character. And I was of the age where I was kind of like, oh, hello. And yeah, so I've always liked her. And then fast forward to when I properly got into Marvel cards in 2007, 2008, Marvel Masterpieces, and then realized that there were sketch cards. And then I suddenly had this thought, what if I'm just going to eBay Black Cat sketch? And I remember doing it. I remember being like, mother. Right. Okay. So I ordered some placed some orders back in 2008. And went deep into sketches for about 5, 6, because you could feast back in those days, because Rittenhouse would come out with multiple sets a year. You'd have a sketch per box. Spider-Man Archives was the big one. Floodgates opened because they'd already done Women of Marvel, which I missed, so I was kind of backpedaling on that one. But Spider-Man Archives, I was all in. And being a Spider-Man set, there were so many Black Cat sketches. OMFG. I think at one point I must have had over 60 from Spider-Man Archives alone of Black Cat.
Oh.
But yeah, and then I didn't kind of start on the printed cards for quite a while, actually. I remember I had a few, and then in the last kind of 5 years, that's kind of ballooned, and now that is my main focus now. I've trimmed down my sketches to a rather handy numbered 79 on official stock. So yeah, and here they all are.
Nice.
And I've also got some oversized ones as well, but they don't fit in this, which is rather annoying. So there we go. Let's go to question 10.
Okay, that one's mine. So this has been a big question for me, really just because of listening to this podcast. So I didn't actually realize that people did this. So when you guys kind of opened my eyes to it about, going beyond the official cards of your character and compiling a list of cards that actually just feature the character in the background, even though it's not primarily their card, either a team that they were a part of, or just if it's a battle scene that they happen to be in, or even a checklist that they're on. It's like it seems overwhelming with a character like Daredevil. It's he's always somewhere in the background flipping around, and it's hard for me to figure out where all of those cards are and how to build out that list.
Yeah. So there's loads of questions that kind of are similar to this. So I'm going to start sharing my screen. And at this point, all bets are off. Right, where are we? This is my spreadsheet. And this has probably taken over 2 years to get to this point. Now, I'm not working on it constantly, so it's not like 2 years of work. This was basically it's less about the cards that are kind of in the borders. It's about the main stuff. Even with the main stuff, your character may well be on cards, but your character isn't in the title of the card. Okay, so there's a prime example here: 1992 Spider-Man 30th anniversary comic images. It's a physical card. The title of the card is Bad Luck. So, Black Cat isn't the title of the card. And you'll see, there are a number of those throughout the years. So, for example, if it's a comic cover card, it could be Amazing Spider-Man 194 is the card title. So you've kind of got to think, okay, what would be the most likely way to go? Now, I've got this done in this way, and I'll walk you through how this is built in a moment. But I chose to do it this way because I use Excel a lot. I started in Excel and I've moved it to Google Sheets now, simply because I wanted just a lockdown version control on it. I had a copy on my desktop, I had a copy on my Google Drive. I was forgetting which was which. I thought I'm just going to house it on Google Drive as a Google Sheet, and you can convert an Excel to a Google Sheet really easily. So, and you're probably looking at it thinking, wow, okay, if you look at that, you've only got 98 to 95 showing on the screen down the left-hand side. Well, it's probably going to, if I start scrolling, it's probably going to go quite a way down. Well, you'd be correct. And then you're thinking, okay, well, how do you even start with something like this? So I'm going to go to flip to another question. And so what we'll do is we'll use this sheet as our kind of springboard, because a lot of the other questions kind of feed into it, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
question number 1. Alan, do you want to take this one?
All right. So, like Barry was saying, you get into stuff where they're in the background. They're mentioned on the checklist. Just obscure things. Where do you set your limits with your PC? What is enough? Where do you draw the line at?
Hmm. Well, the first thing I'll say is what I do will be different to someone else does,
Hmm.
and it's entirely subjective because it's your collection, it's your character, it's your passion. So it will be up to you as to how deep you want the rabbit hole to go. Now, there are layers, much like Dante's Inferno. There are layers to this hell that we set for ourselves, um, and it depends how many levels down you want to go. So. The obvious first and foremost thing is that trading cards are primarily an American cultural thing, yeah? So you
Yep.
could say to yourself, okay, I'm going to stick with American trading cards. And, if that's one of your first choices, that's absolutely fine. What it does mean is that you won't necessarily be chasing the Mexican or Guatemalan Pepsi cards from 95, for example, because that would be out of your kind boundaries. Now, of course, you can change your mind as you're going through it. That's the other thing. What you set at the beginning doesn't have to be your path throughout. It's your collection. You're driving this train or truck, as it is with Alan. Because Alan, you drive trucks, don't you, for a living?
Yes, sir. Yes, I
Yeah.
do.
Um, so it's effectively entirely up to you. My personal one is that I go for any official printed card that has any aspect of Black Cat's visual appearance on it, front or back. Okay. I draw the line at text only mentions of her. So if she's on a checklist from Marvel Masterpieces, let me think, 1992, I think that has a checklist, if I remember correctly.
Mhm.
I don't collect that as part of my Black Cat PC. Some people are different. Some people will do that. Some people only collect the character if they're on the front. And yeah, various other. I mean, there's kind of a number of guardrails you can go with it. Some folks will only collect them on trading cards, 2.5 by 3.5 size. Some folks will be like, actually, no, I'm quite happy to collect TCG trading card games as well, which are the same size but a very different kind of challenge. And some folks will happily also collect stickers. Um, I and some folks will include printing plates as well. Um, we'll come on to printing plates because I know there is a specific question about that. It's what I do. If I click at the top here, you'll see I've got mine broken down by TCG, trading card, sticker, printing plate. I've also got something called custom TCG. I honestly can't remember what that is, so we'll get to that in a moment. So if I filter this to sticker, for example, if I can just do that. Now, there's not a huge number of stickers over the years, and there's probably more than I know about, but there are a number of European Panini ones, for example, Preziosi and things like that. It's Playground Maniacs, which was American. And so I like to be able to have the option to filter this stuff. Now, my idea with this sheet was that I would eventually hook this up to a data studio dashboard so that folks could use it as a resource for everything out there that's Black Cat. I just haven't had the time to get it over the line because with that you have to add images, of course, and images can be a bit tricksy to do. So question number 5. Barry, throw that one out there.
So that one is, how do you track and tabulate what you need or have acquired up till this point?
Okay. So I do this. I've effectively got a column called owned.
Right.
Okay. So I just put a Y in that when it's owned. And I also color the row green. If I was super clever, I could make the whole row go green when I put a Y in that box. I just haven't got around to doing it yet. It's like a 2-minute job. It's a really easy conditional formatting thing. I just haven't done it yet. You'll notice when I go down that there are things that I'm missing that I still need to acquire. In fact, there is one. I'll actually be updating this in a moment while we're on the issue. But when you scroll down here, you can see that there are some gaps. I don't have everything here, and there's some stuff I'll never own, but we'll come on to that. So my primary thing is I wanted to know what the jigsaw puzzle looks like, because if you don't have some sort of list, regardless of what your kind of aims are, you don't know how big a challenge you've got. You kind of don't, it's like building a jigsaw without the picture on the box. And so once I started building it, I actually became a little bit obsessive filling it in for the first 6 months or so. And fortunately, that was during a time that was still, there was still some COVID time to be able to do that. I'm pretty sure I started building this sheet in 2020, thinking back, because I remember talking to Norrin about it at the time. You might also realize that there's a column here called scene. Okay.
I didn't hear you mention that on the last podcast with Steve.
Yeah. So my scene column is usually for things like printing plates or ones of ones. Okay. There are 4 printing plates from Marvel Beginnings 2 for breakthrough issues. And it's card B73. Okay. Now I have the card. I have the signed version of the card. I don't have any of the 4 printing plates from the card. But neither have I ever seen them. So I've never seen them on a lost eBay auction. If it was a newer set, I can log on to ComC and look at sold out. So I can do that, and I can see printing plates from Masterpieces 2016, for example, that had been on ComC, that are long
So this
sold.
is this is a step that I started to take, and even though I guess I need to create a scene column in my spreadsheet because I don't have one yet, but whenever I have seen it, I like to note where I saw it, like and try, if you know whose collection it's in, try to pinpoint the individual. But if you don't, at least like keep a link for when the auction ended as to how much it went for, so at least you have some sort of a reference.
Yeah, and that works for you. I tend not to go that deep. I mean, I've never seen these, so I've never seen them come out for auction, but I tend not to go that deep with it. I'll walk you through some of the columns in a minute. I mean, I'm scrolling around. I kind of know from memory on a lot of them, simply because when we get down to the Marvel annuals down here, Fleer Ultra Spider-Man is a long and dark period for Black Cat. We won't go there. I know that for Marvel Annual 19 and 20, there are printing plates out there, and I know there's another collector on EPAC who's got them on his PC account. So, I know where some of them are. There were some, like I said, I haven't seen, and that's the thing. I'm always for one of ones like this, especially from sets like this, or probably more so things like Masterpieces, where it is quite a limited thing. A sealed box collector can seriously up your day. Not that there's anything wrong with sealed box collectors, but and the simple fact is, you will never know if a printing plate is in that sealed product. that
Schrodinger's
collector holds.
cat.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, good reference. Good reference. So, some of these may be in unopened Marvel Annual 1920 physical boxes.
Right.
Some of them might be locked on an e-Pack account that was active for 3 weeks, and then that person lost interest. So who knows? Some of them may have never been issued as Pack Wars prizes when they were running Pack Wars on e-Pack. So it's hard to tell on some of these, but yeah, that's generally how I do it. I do it in year order. That's just because the way I choose to do it. It makes it much easier if you can do it that way.
Yeah.
And for the most part, now I've got a column here called set. I try and standardize the names as much as possible just because it makes it easier. Manufacturer is just a good reference point. Source, physical or e-Pack. Now, I guess there are some where it could be both, but generally speaking, I only put e-Pack if it's an e-Pack exclusive. If you could only get it from e-Pack, that's why I've got the source column on there. It just differentiates it. And yeah, that's where we are with this. So you're probably thinking, how did you start the list? Are either of you thinking that?
Definitely. Yeah, I know how I started mine, and it was a little messy. It was not very organized at first.
Right. So I'm going to show you some of the sources. Here's the thing. There isn't one source that will give you this. It's not the trading card database. It's not Beckett. It's not Jeff Allender's House of Checklists. It is a little bit from here, a little bit from here, and a little bit from here. And a lot of it is damn luck on eBay or Google image searches. Okay. So I started with Beckett. As you can see there's a tab called Beckett. So if I go onto the Beckett website, which I think is here, so you can create an account on the Beckett website. I can't remember if you need that account to do this. I think you can search the site without it, but I think in order to kind of hold a list and be able to update it. So let me just move these sketches down there because they are in my way. So when you go onto the Beckett site, Beckett's vast, and obviously all the stuff coming up here is baseball initially. That's just simply because, I searched Black Cat, and it's picking up all sorts of stuff there. You notice it's picking 1969 A's, black and white, number 4, Donny Cater. That's because the word black appears and the word cat is part of the surname. Okay. So I don't know if it works in the same way as a lot of search things, where if I put that in speech marks, it will just show you Black Cat. Let's see if that works, because I can't remember. No, so that doesn't work on this site. Okay, so the easiest thing to do is to start filtering it. So if you look on the left here, you've got all these options. So you can immediately narrow that down by ticking non-sports. So once I click apply, so we're getting there. It's still coming up with stuff that isn't Black Cat, however. So are there any other filters I can choose? Let's have a look. Yes, manufacturers, attributes, players, set types. You've got quite a lot of options here. I can't remember where I got to with this because I did eventually get to a pretty good list. But I know, for example, that there will never have been a Black Cat Marvel card from Kitchen Sink Press. So I can drill this down even further. I know there's never been one through Braygen either. But I know there've been Fleer. I know there've been Rittenhouse. I know there've been Upper Deck. I don't think, yes, I think there have been Tops, and there have been Comic Images, and there have been Panini. So straight away, when I tick on that, it will drill it down even further. Now, I've still got stuff in here that is baseball. Because look, that's tagged with both baseball and non-sports. So is there a way I can exclude baseball? Let's have a look. Don't believe there is. No. What a Pain in the balls. Ah, here we go. Brands. Again, there's no option to exclude stuff, which is frustrating. Okay, that's as much as I can filter it there. So you are going to have stuff in here that's simply not there, and it'll come up with Batman stuff for my character. Now, fortunately, with your character, Daredevil, I think probably will largely come up with stuff related to Marvel. Bishop.
Mostly on Daredevil, when you filter for non-sports, you get these random actual Daredevil cards.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
like stunt bicyclists and all
Wow.
kind of sets
Okay.
that, like Evil Knievel sets come up. Yeah, you get a bunch of random stuff.
Oh, mate. Okay. Well, fortunately, I don't have to go too far before I start seeing some of the stuff I want. Yeah. So comic images, you can see there's that Hildebrand one isn't Black Cat, it's the Black Cat. But the basically what I'm saying is there's more stuff that I need than there is that I don't need. So I've kind of panned for gold a bit, and there's still a bit of sediment in the pan, but most of it is gold. Okay. So it's pretty cool. Some of them have images, some of them don't. Obviously, I'm still getting some stuff come up because the letters CAT are part of someone's name, like up here with this person, Catherine Back, or St. Patrick's Cathedral happens to be there. I think you're probably going to get that quite a lot with Bishop. So I think you're just going to have to, pardon the expression, roll with it, not roll with it. But there we go. So you can export this as an Excel. I just can't remember how to do it because they've changed the site a little bit since I was last on here. Let me scroll down, see what options it gives me. Let me just click there. I can't see the option easily, but something comes up here. What's this? Aha! Right. You can create a collection. That's how you do it. So basically, you can tick on items. So for me, it's easier to tick on this and untick the stuff because most of this I think I want. Yeah. So, and once you do that, you can then add those items to a collection. This is why you create an account. You can add it to a collection. You can create a collection. Yeah. Now, fortunately, I've used this site before. So let me have a look. I think I have a saved collection here somewhere. If I can see it, let me move you guys out of the way. My profile, my account. It's not an easy site to use because it's so vast. Okay, so no stuff there. Where are we? Organized trade. I know I've saved a collection. Anyway, once you find wherever that collection's hidden, you can export it as an Excel sheet. And when you export it as an Excel sheet, yeah, I'm gonna be futzing around in here for ages. It is in here, and I have got it, but I just can't remember where it is. When you export it as a spreadsheet, you get this.
Okay.
Which is pretty cool.
Really a good stepping stone to start setting up like you have.
Yeah. And it kind of starts doing the work for you. Now, one of the challenges I've got here, let me zoom in a little bit. Let me move you guys. Sorry, there's a little box with your faces in that I keep having to move around the screen. If I zoom in a little bit, you will see. Now, I'd already started ticking stuff on the Beckett site, which is why it's got done in there as the first column. You'll see there it's got various things that come from the Beckett site. You probably won't need any of that whatsoever. The main thing you need is this. But the problem is it's one single text string. So basically what I mean by that is everything's in the box. You've got the year, you've got the series, you've got the card number, and you've got the card name. It's all in one box. So Now, you can either do this manually, or you should be able to work out how to actually split that data up if you know what you're doing. But however you choose to do this, you've got the bare bones of it. Yeah. So if I scroll down here, I've got all these various things, and there's a lot there. I mean, look at this. Look at this. Look at the length of the text string for that one. Now that's actually, it's calling it Spider-Man Premiere, and this is the thing. What Beckett calls it might not be what everyone else in Marvel calls it. So whilst that set is, I guess technically speaking, Spider-Man Premiere, it's Fleer Ultra Spider-Man 1995. That's what we call it. That's what everyone calls it. Yeah. Spider-Man Premiere, Golden Web. No mention whatsoever of Fleer Ultra Spider-Man in any of these sales. So what I did, going back to my main list, I do have a column that I've moved over to the end here called Beckett. There it is. And that's the Beckett name. So what I did, this was a long-winded way of doing it. I actually went down and I had that column as my first column, and then I started populating all of the columns next to it, like the name, the manufacturer, the card title, and I just went down and started doing it by that. Now, if you're a crazy mofo and you're collecting someone like Spider-Man, who's had thousands of cards, that's going to take you a bit of time. Someone like Bishop, it's probably going to be doable. I won't lie to you, Alan. You know, when you're in your cab, you know, getting a bit of shut eye and your truck stop on the side of the highway or whatever it is. I see too many films. I've got no idea what the reality of it's like. But yeah, you could quite happily just. And the thing is with this, what you got to remember is, how do you eat an elephant?
Have I eaten an elephant?
Yeah, one bite at a time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to do it all in one sitting. You can come back to it and nibble away at it. Yeah. And that's exactly what I've been doing for 3 years now, which is why it's kind of, you know, in this state. So that's your starting point, is Beckett. Okay. I recommend that because it simply gives you that export functionality for you to have something to put into your sheet. And it's pretty good, but it's only searching for one thing: the name Black Cat. Okay.
Yeah.
So if she's not in the card title, as they have it, or as the main checklist has it, it won't find her. So then you get to the second part of it, is just being in the hobby and in the community. And you'll have seen cards out there. So there's probably X-Men cards where they're team cards, where Bishop's in.
Yeah.
But he's not in the card title. You'll probably know what they are. I don't know what they are off the top of my head.
X-Men Gold Team.
Yeah, exactly. So Bishop's on that card, yeah, but he won't come up in that search. So that's where you've kind of got to be like, okay, what do I already know? Because you said yourself, you know, you've already got those sets, all those 90s sets. So, and that's a case of just sitting down with your binders and just going through it, saying, right, okay, this card, I'll put it on the list. This card, I'll put it on the list. You know, get that stuff in there as well. You will kind of get to a point where you've kind of found all you can find. So I'm going to ask a question to you guys now. If you've got a Daredevil card, say Daredevil Masterpieces 1992,
Sure.
Do you just have the one copy in your Marvel Masterpieces 92 set?
No, so yeah, me personally, I always have to have one for the character collection and one for the set if it's a set that I own. And then yeah, maybe one graded if I've got a grade that I like as well. So I generally have 3 copies, especially of the 90s.
Yeah. Well, we'll get onto graded in a minute. So
I actually thought about that because I recently just got some of the Flair, the X-Men metal set. I went through the Bishops, and I saw the 95 metal stuff. I was like, well, I have a master set sitting right back here. It's like, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and get an extra specifically for the character collector set.
exactly. Now that's what I choose to do. because I want to be able to look at my character collection, however you choose to store it and enjoy it or display it in some cases. I want to be able to look at that as a collection of that character. I don't want to be going into a binder, flicking through it and going, oh, there's my guy. Close that, put that back. Go to the next binder, pull through. Oh, there's my guy. Okay, close that, put it back. It's a pain in the balls. Now, which is fine for most of the common stuff and even the kind of semi-rare stuff. But when you get into the super rare stuff, that's where you kind of got to make some decisions as to, I mean, I'm not a set collector who builds a set of green out of 10 PMGs. I don't have the financial resources to do it, nor I don't think would I want to. It's just not how I collect or what I collect. If you are, however, then it becomes a bit of a choice as to, do I eat for the next month or two? Or do I try and get 2 copies of the green PMG, one for my green PMG set and one for the Bishop or the Daredevil set? So fortunately, that decision is pretty rare, but I don't know how deep you go into the limited numbered parallels.
Yeah, so I did want to mention one thing that you were commenting on about flipping through binders and what teams do you know that your character's on. So I'm just thinking about this because you have the trading card database up on your screen. Some people on that site have gone and cataloged some of that. So
Yep.
like if you search for your character name, it will pop up some
Mhm.
teams, some team cards that they're on,
Yeah.
occasionally even a card that they're in the background of. But remember, that's just community sourced. So as
Yes.
I've started to do that and I've started to search for Daredevil, a lot of them are misidentified.
Yep.
Where it's actually Ant-Man
Yep.
and somebody thought that was Daredevil,
Yeah.
and it's actually Daredevil's not on the card. And they actually do get back to you pretty quickly. Like I've pointed some of those things out and sent it to the TCDB people,
Yeah.
and they respond really quickly. And they're like,
Mm.
"Thank you. We'll take that one off or whatever." But it's still, this site is an active community.
Yeah. It's kind of like a Wikipedia of cards. Is the way
Right.
I think of it. It's kind of community built. So actually, that was my next source I was going to show you. So I started with 3 main sources, and then we're going to go into some more obscure ones. So the second one I'm going to go with is Trading Card Database. Now, I've saved Jeff Allender's House of Checklist for third in terms of my 3 main sources because there are no images of cards on there. Okay, so let's type Black Cat in here. Non-sports search. Wow. Okay. So straight away you get Craven Black Cat, which is a cigarette brand, kind of cigarette cards. And then you got names here. You got various things. The Black Cat, Shadow Cat, Sylvester Cat. It's like Sylvester the Cat, Domestic Cat, House Cat, Catfire Cat, Gazelle Cat, Red Cat, Wild Cat. It's ridiculous. Look at that list. I've got Top Cat on there. Bonus points. Can either of you name all of Top Cat's gang?
No.
No? Okay. All right. It's Choo Choo Brain, Spook, Fancy Top Cat, and Benny the Bull, by the way. Let's move on. So when I click on Black Cat, fortunately, it comes up Felicia Sarah Hardy. It's going to sound crazy. I didn't even realize her middle name was Sarah.
I never knew she had a middle name either.
No, nor did I. Largely because I'm just looking at pictures of her and going, so when you type this up, even though it's gone into this, it's clearly identified this character and it's given me a scroll of her images. By the way, since I used this site, because since I used this Beckett and the trading card database and Allender's, I've not gone back to them. Because once the list is up and running, it's a maintenance thing for me to add new sets. And generally speaking, it's Upper Deck. Or if I find obscure stuff or TCG stuff, I'll add it on there myself. So my list, if you'll forgive me, I'm going to paraphrase Schindler's List here. The list is an absolute good. It is your single source of truth. Once you've built it, you maintain it, and it's your passion. You have to. you kind of have to be a bit disciplined with it in that front. Now, even though I've typed in Black Cat, it is still coming up with some stuff that is clearly not Black Cat. From 1901, of all things. There's some 1954 cards here. And here we go. So the first one. Now, for some people, this will be swearing. This is not her rookie card. This is her first appearance on a trading card. Okay.
Oh, buddy. Let's not go down that road.
I'm not going. Let's not go down that road. Rookie, nookie, you name it. Now, she came out in 1979, and we know that there were only 2 or 3 Marvel card and or sticker products before 1979. So that gives me I immediately know that she's not going to be before that point. Now, Daredevil, he's 1964, so you're kind of screwed. Bishop, however, what's it, 91, 92?
It's definitely in that 90 era.
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. But what the good thing about that is that you can rule out a lot of the comic images sets. So depending on your character, so if you chose someone like Spider-Gwen, now Spider-Gwen, or Ghost Spider as she's now called on some things, it's you've got 10 years worth at this point.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of them because she's very popular. So I would say, I haven't done this, but Black Cat has been in cards since 1989. She's been in some sort of sticker and or Marvel related license set since 1984. And yeah, there are probably equally as many Ghost Spider cards already in that 10-year period than there are of Black Cat over all that time. So probably more, in fact. So you can get a sense of it. And what I like about this is that it gives you a verification check. Because what I found is that there were cards on here that were either not on the Beckett sheet or that there was very slight discrepancies in terms of the year, or the manufacturer might have been missing on one, but it was on the other. I can't think of examples at the moment. But what I did find was that the set names on Trading Card Database tended to be more logically what we'd know them as, rather than Spider-Man Premiere. It's described as Fleer or Spider-Man, etc.
Right.
And you can go through the years on this as well. So whilst I don't use this anymore for the newer sets, if I clicked on 2023, it would actually have that Panini Amazing Spider-Man 60th anniversary sticker collection on there. It's not sticker 155, so I don't know why it says that. So I don't know what release it's talking about either. So you've kind of got to just okay. And interestingly, this includes non-official sets. So this includes Greg Horn's own set that he put out.
Yeah, I mean, I've run into a lot of this that, it basically includes anything the community deems relevant to add, because it is very much a Wikipedia site. So you've got to sort of, when you see these, you've got to decide whether or not this is something you want to be a part of the collection, knowing that it's not produced by any, official manufacturer. And a lot of that lives on the trading card database, embedded in each one of these years.
Yeah.
This almost becomes like a jumping off point to research some of these sets. Because obviously, we were paying attention when this Greg Horn set came out. But if something similar came out in 1982, like for Daredevil, I'm like, I don't know if this is real. Like, I don't know if this is a legitimate manufactured product.
So I know what Panini Marvel is because I've got it. Marvel Versus, rather. No image on there. But I've no idea what Topps Chrome Metazoo is, but I'm pretty certain it's not going to be Marvel Black Cat. So I'm just going to very quickly search that with Google, just so it gives me an image. And it's and you can very easily do that. Yeah, look, it's some sort of, what the fuck is that? I've no idea what that is, but this is not the droid I'm looking for. So quickly out of there. So you can do all that sort of stuff. I mean, I'm hopefully I'm not teaching people to suck eggs here, but you have functionality here to very quickly just ask Dr. Google. Now when you do that, you can go down a rabbit hole with Google Images, but I'll come back to So there's all sorts of stuff on here, and you can sell a lot of this stuff. Topps Chrome, MetaZoo. Now this is interesting because all of this has come up under Black Cat Felicia Hardy. So the site isn't infallible in that regard. It's clearly got cards listed under her that aren't her. But again, what you can do with this is that if you take the filter off for the year, let me take that off. What I've started to do is, because there are images on here, you can start to put image links on your list. So what I do with that is I put them over here. And this is I've not done many of these yet, but you'll see I've got a front URL, back URL. So these are actually links. These are actually live links. Let me just do that. Come on, hurry up. So I should be able to click. Come on. All right, I can go to that page, and it's got an image of the card. So I don't have to take my own photo of it. It's pulling in the image URL for the image that's on the trading card database. So you can very quickly start populating this with images of the front and the back of the card by just doing those. Yeah, and basically what you do is you just open up, let's just open up this image. Let's click on this one here. Right click, copy image address. So that's Masterpieces 94. Where's that? Masterpieces 94. Masterpieces 94. I've already done it, but it's there. Yeah. So I just click on that.
Have you run into an issue with, the image on a site being, deleted or just unavailable? And then,
not as yet, because I'm not using, I've started to populate this, but as you can see, I've barely done any, and I've only really done it for the ones that are really, really hard to, obscure shit that I'm like, okay, I won't remember where I found that image. So I'm going to put the image URL in there. An example of this would be this one from laststicker.com, which is another resource I'm going to come on to in a minute. If I click on that, it shows me an image of this, which is really small, but that's as big as the image is. That's from a Russian set. So that's what happens, my friends, if you decide to collect outside of US and indeed, in this case, stickers. So, but the laststicker.com website is brilliant, is a brilliant resource. I'll come on to that in a moment. But no, the reason I started doing that with the URL is because I wanted, when I put this into Google Data Studio, I wanted to be able to pull in an image of the card. Had I got that Google Data Studio up and running, it's now called Looker Data Studio because Google bought Looker. Had I got that up and running, I would know because an image would stop populating. Ultimately, what I would probably do is actually download a copy of those images, unless I wanted to take my own really super high-res, lovely images. Download those and just keep them on the Google Drive. So that way I know that the image links are never going to break because they're on my drive.
Yeah.
So, you could do it that way as well. It just depends, whether you want that image or not. I find it, I know it will be handy, but it's not my main focus at the moment to have this in there. So where do you get reliable info? Right. This is right. Question number 8. Who's next to ask a question? Because I don't want to just be talking all the time.
Yeah, I think this was my question, and you're kind of leading right into it with that Russian image that you just showed. I've struggled from forever to find reliable info on foreign sets mostly, but also TCG. For character collectors or sets, really. I don't know what sites to go to.
Okay. So TCG is the low-hanging fruit on that one. So there is a brilliant site called Category 1 Games. Guys, can you write down the date and time for me of right now? Because I want you to have recorded the moment that you saw this website. Because this website will change your collecting world. Okay. And I'll show you what I mean by that. Let me move this little. I've got this little bar that says I'm sharing my screen. I want it to go away. So when I click in here, Category 1 games. Now, basically, what this is, it's these guys have got all this stuff. I mean, they've got it's a huge resource. It's an American-based company. I think they're based in the Pacific Northwest. You've got Babylon 5, you've got Aliens Predator, you've got Bionicle, you've got City of Heroes, you've got Conan, you've got Marvel Versus, you've got Halo, Harry Potter. I mean, look at HeroClix, Magic the Gathering, Recharge, Marvel Ultimate Battles. I mean, look, I mean, you can see. I don't have to read them all out, but there's a lot on there. So, start with what you know. Black Cat. Now, you'll notice when I did that, when I put Black Cat in there, it came up with Black Cat, Cat Burger, Black Cat, Cat Fight, Black Cat Foil, Black Cat Thrill Seeker. So it's bringing in some of the names, the cards. Okay. So if I go Black Cat Thrill Seeker, because I know what that is, it will bring in a Marvel Legends card. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also brought in something from Tomb of the Forgotten, but we're not going to worry about that. But what this does is it tells me that card exists. Okay. So if I click on this, Marvel Legends, we're going to here. Actually, what it is, it's Marvel it's legendary. You know, the Upper Deck set that's been going for X amount of years. So this is that. Yeah. The images are pretty small. Sometimes you can click on them and they'll go bigger, but that one just doesn't. So you can see it's there and it's in stock. So what you'll probably find is when you first go to this site, you'll be like, oh, that's only 30 cents. Oh, that's 20 cents. You know, you'll start building a shopping cart straight away. And you'll put in an order that's less than 20, 30 bucks. And you'll have a package arrive with stuff that you've never seen. Straight away, your TCG set is off and running. So if you wanted that, that's great. You just tick and put it in your thing. But let's go back. You'll see there's a variant of it there. Okay, let's click on that. It's a foil. I can tell that because I'm hovering over it. And this is where this site is Zooey Mama. It's out of stock. I want it on my wish list. So you click plus wish list. Please register or sign in. Yeah, I tried to sign in before this thing, but I've forgotten my password, so I'm not going to do that. But when you add it to your wish list, they email you when it comes in stock.
Okay.
How good is that? How good is that? So every now and again, I get a random email saying, right, this is one's in stock. And I haven't actually acted on this because I was skint when it came in. So if I click on this, there it is. Right, it's out of stock again. I was too slow. But it will come back in because they're always buying collections. Right. It's just brilliant. And sometimes, yeah, like I said, a lot of the time when you click on the image, you actually get a really good view of it. Now, the reason this one is a bit more sought after is it's because it's the full art. Yeah, I don't know if you've seen these cards, but often the frame that the art appears in is in the top half of the card. But this one is the full art version. It will be described as EA, extended art. And yeah, you'll very quickly realize when you're going through this that there's a lot of stuff there. So if I just do Black Cat, and it's like with the other sites, you've got to just you can go through this, and it's come up with all these search results, and straight away I can see, okay, that's Marvel Team Up, that's a legendary, that's Marvel Web Spider-Man, and some of them you might not know what the game is from looking at it. Right. And you'll kind of pick that up as you go through. So this one I know is Overpower. I can never remember what it is from looking at it. But there it is. It's an Overpower set. And then that's legendary. You've got Versus System is in here somewhere as well. I can't remember what that looks like. But you can see it pulls in all sorts of stuff, like Black Cat, of course, ends up as a witchcraft or mythical thing. So you see her in a lot of things. Should we type in Daredevil and see what comes up?
I'm glad I wrote down the time and the date. That was good advice.
Yeah, you're going to love this. Right, Daredevil, straight away. What's this?
Is that overpower as well?
Yeah, Power
Power
Surge.
surge. Okay.
Now,
Oh,
this one is clearly a little bit more sought after. $7.50. But they've got 5 of them.
wow.
Hero Clicks. Now, Hero Clicks is a weird one. I've no interest in the little figures, but they all come with a little card.
Oh,
All come with a card, and the card is different, and it'll be relative to how you play that piece within
right.
whatever the game Hero Clicks is. So, what's this? Marvel Incredible Hulk figure with card. There's no image there. So what is that? Okay, it's HeroClix. Yeah, you can tell it's HeroClix because I actually clicked on the set rather than the thing. So I don't know what that is. There's no image, but if you click on the set, it'll show you other things within there, and you can see, okay, that's a HeroClix thing. So you've just got to keep your eyes open when you're going through this and just say, okay, it doesn't say what it's from, what product it's from, who's issued it. You've just got to go through it. And as with everything else, you get Stink Drinker Daredevil, Modern Masters. That's clearly not the droid you're looking for. But you've got, look, there's a Marvel Legends one, Hornhead. They've got 53 of those. It's only 18 cents. That's a fairly common one.
This is dangerous.
So it is.
Yeah.
But
I think
really
I might be
affordable.
safe with Bishop though.
Bishop. Let's have a look.
Hopefully. We'll
Let's
see.
have a look. Let's have a look, shall we? It is Lucas, but yeah, that's him.
Lucas
There's your
Bishop.
fella.
Yep.
There he is.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess
So this will be the
go
foil
down that
version.
rabbit hole.
Yeah, that'll be the foil version.
It looks like there
Yeah.
might be 3 variants of that one.
Yeah, there'll be an extended art version as well, I think.
So many variants.
As Bishop from Alien, so you kind of got to work through that sort of stuff as well.
Yeah.
You'll have a load because Bishop is a fairly common
Yeah.
religious
Third
word. You'll have a
name,
lot of
yeah.
that. You'll have a lot of those
Yeah.
because this, and you can see the full list of stuff like June. A gift. There's even a gift card category on here, and there's another thing. Do you go for phone cards or gift cards? I'm going to tell you now, Alan D. Beauchamp, that there are X-Men phone cards out there.
This is new to me.
Lots of them. So, but you might be like, you know what? I just want the trading cards. Or you might be
Which will
like,
probably be the route I go.
Yep.
I might dabble
Yep.
into the TCG, but I'll probably
Yep.
stay official and
Yep.
sketch for the
Yeah, exactly.
most part.
And that's the thing. And also you've got to think, do I do stamps? Postage stamps? Do I do stickers? And I haven't even talked about those options out of your country yet.
Mhm.
Because with every option, you've got US and you've got non-US.
Yeah.
So do you do the European stuff? Do you do the South American stuff?
And then I've seen people collect like Pogs, those little discs.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
There's
remember
so
those.
many things out there.
Uh-huh. So I've gotten up and walking away slightly. I'll come back.
Well, while you're doing that, actually, I wanted to ask Barry. So back to the "Where's your limits" question. Obviously, with annual, there's Daredevil, which is actually a lecture when she took the mantle. Do you step into that, or do you stick Matt Murdock?
Yeah, so I definitely try to stick Matt Murdock if for no other reason other than it's outside of my budget to collect absolutely everything of other versions of the character, and there have been other Marvel characters who have worn the Daredevil mantle, and actually Matt Murdock has worn other mantles as well. So I try to limit as much as possible, only Matt Murdock and only as Daredevil. That's just personal choice. You got to draw the line somewhere.
Yeah.
That's the thing, and that's the whole thing. Where do you draw that line? And that's a call that only you can make. So I'm going to stop sharing for a sec, just so that my camera's a bit bigger, so I can show you this. So this is the earliest known thing. It's 5 years after she came out. This was in kind of it was a book, and it came with a set of stamps that you could use in that book. So it's not a postage stamp, and it's a Secret Wars book. It's from 1984.
Nice, obscure little
Now,
thing. Add this to the collection.
yeah, but because it's PSA, it's actually quite nice to have because that's a bit of a faffy thing to store and keep safe.
Yeah.
So it's
Right.
kind of, yeah, I don't care about. I'm pretty much grade agnostic when it comes to this stuff. I just like to have a sealed copy of some of this stuff for display, and also just to know I've got it in a way that I can look at that's not in my binder. This is a sticker from 2008, Marvel Heroes by Preziosi. They're an Italian company. I know what
She's
you're
a
thinking.
reflection of his eye.
She's one of the characters in the eye.
Oh, wow.
Which eye is she in? Yes, she's just. Hang on a minute. I can't see it myself now. Where is she? I know she's there. There she is.
That's the type of thing you just have to
She's
stumble
just next to
into,
my finger. Just there.
All right.
She's just there.
Just
Now,
over to your left, just a
Yeah.
little bit.
I saw this because someone was showing it on Instagram. Someone was showing it on Instagram.
I think I remember you posting
Yeah.
something like that.
And
on,
I was like, you know what? I straight away I went onto eBay and I was like, yeah, I'll have that. Thank you very much. Now, the reason I got up is because I do have a graded POG, courtesy of Amanda Z at the Graded Gamer. But no, I do not collect POGs. It just happened to be around. Where is it? It's here somewhere. You know what? I can't find it. It's run away. Gone. It's gone. It's in this room
I think
somewhere.
I did watch that podcast, and I can't remember if you pulled it out there or somebody. I think somebody brought out a pog, and I think it was you.
Yeah, I think I've shown it before. Anyway, it's around. So yeah, so I haven't got pogs on this list, you'll notice. So I don't actively chase them, and so I can't can't advise on where your resource for pogs is. I would say it's probably has its own resources. I think the reason I draw the line with those is possibly because they're round. I don't know. But because Amanda had graded a load and there was a black cat one, I was like, fine, okay, it's not,
Why not?
yeah, and it's sealed, it's in, it looks really cool, and it's interesting. The slab is smaller than the slab they use for the, which is probably why I can't find. Where is it? Where is it? This is vexing me now.
And then I've seen other people, I try to stray away from this again because you've got to draw the line somewhere, but
Yeah.
playing cards, the cards with like the rounded edges. There's so many Marvel board games and playing card decks. There you go. I don't go down that road.
Right. I do. Okay. So this I got yesterday in a thrift store, charity shop. Well, I'm not sure what you call them in the US. 75 pence this cost me. Marvel Comic Heroes 2. Now, you might be thinking, okay, well that's interesting. Let's open this up. They're a bit beaten up, but for 75p, and I'd already looked through it in the store, so I already knew that I wanted to buy it. So you'll see there that it's got the green border, Marvel Comic Heroes 2, and it's a green bordered thing. This isn't Black Cat, that's Galactus, the one I pulled out. So you can see it's there, okay? So let me scroll through. Who is in here? Who is in here? Let me see if one of your guys is in here. Oh, Nightcrawler. I'll put that down. Wolverine, Agent X, She-Hulk, Daredevil. There he is. That's yours.
Wow.
There's Bishop. Ah,
Oh,
there we go. Right, I'll pull
bingo.
those out. There we go. Black Cat.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so she's there. Now, it's pretty. I wouldn't say it's the best condition. It's clearly been handled by a small grubby child over the years. And sorry, bear with. I'm trying to do this, and everything's just falling over. Oh no! disaster. Hold the line, callers. I've just dropped loads of top loaders on the floor. Never mind. Let's put those over there. Oh, this is my tank. Makes a great noise when you open it. It's kind of one of those attaché cases that you padlock to someone's wrist when you're going to the airport. So this is what I store my PC in, because it has D-ring.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Yeah,
that
so
is
I can
nice.
put binder pages in. I only use Ultra Pro Platinum. For the more oversized stuff, I use the stuff that came with it. And these are CD holders. So this
Oh.
case is actually something that DJs used to store their CDs in these sleeves. And so it came with some of these sleeves, then they're perfect for the bigger cards that won't fit into.
Okay.
I've got to put it down because it's really heavy. The really
Definitely might need a link to that thing right there. I'm gonna have to look into that.
it's they don't make them anymore. I
Oh,
found it by chance. But for stuff like this
Right.
that is super thick,
yeah.
you can just put it in one of these pockets. It's good as gold. Right. So the reason I got this out is because I want to scroll through to the page with my top trumps. Okay, here we go. And I will get this page out. So here's the thing with top trumps. You can have the same card image in different sets.
Um,
And when you turn, you'll see the text is slightly different on that one. And when you turn over, you'll see that the back of it is different because that one says collect 5 at the top in the top corner. And that one doesn't. And it's actually a different set as well. And then at the bottom there, that's green one. And that is.
So you picked up. Okay.
But that's the one I got yesterday.
oh, it's
Oh.
different.
Different set. Different set. So when I turn it over, identical. Different set.
It's Flair Ultra Avengers with the gold foiling all over again.
Yeah, but that's the thing with top trumps. You don't know until you actually buy them. Or do you? Aha. There is a top trumps site. And I don't have it to hand at the moment, but there is a site where you can search top trumps and you can see images of a lot of the cards. Some of the top trump cards are super rare. So, for example, there was an edition called Tournament, which only came as a big box with loads of sets in it, and you could only get those sets in that big box. So there's some guy out of Ireland who's selling all the singles from them because he knows that collectors want them. So this one here, I'm not going to put away just yet because I want to add it to my spreadsheet. And I also, so every few months I do an intake into here, and it goes through the spreadsheet, tick it off, and it goes in here. So
Yeah, you gotta have that system, especially with sketch cards. When you have, pending commissions, you've got to constantly have a system where, for me, it's exactly like what you just described.
Yeah.
Everything has to go through the spreadsheet before it
Has
goes
to.
into any sort of storage solution.
So I've just realized that this card I got this morning that's a bit knackered, I got it in a lot from South America. And I've only just realized. There it is.
Okay.
And it's in English. So it's the same release. But that is a pristine copy of it. So I do already have it. I never registered that the back was different to the other one I've got that's got the green border because it's got that title at the bottom. So now I know I've got that. I need to add that to the sheet. So yeah, there is a whole there is a whole rabbit hole to go down. One of you asked a question about forgeries or unlicensed ones.
Happens all the time.
So this lot that I got from South America had lots of cards in. So let me show you this, for example.
Right.
But look at the quality of it. It's gloss. It's slightly oversized. I have no idea. I don't think that's an official license card at all. If you had it in hand, you'd know what I meant. It just doesn't feel.
I can actually see
Yeah,
just from the
yeah.
flexing of it, kind of looks. Yeah.
And I've got a similar thing. I've got two cards from this. In fact, I think this is supposed to be. Weirdly, so these look very similar. Okay, so you can see that. Different backs.
Yeah.
Now, one of them does have a copyright at the bottom, but that doesn't mean it's licensed.
True.
You know, you can stick that on there any old time. This one here, don't know. I mean, the print quality on them is okay. Of the two, the one that's got the copyright logo does actually feel like it could be official, but this one doesn't. Really doesn't feel it. So, I have to say, it's fairly unusual to get anything from America and Canada that isn't official. People just generally aren't making them, and it's home turf for Marvel, so they'll clamp down on that pretty quick. I've generally found it usually South American, and that sometimes I've seen some stuff that is Japanese or Korean that I'm like, really, really though. And one example of that I have is there's a rather strange Spider-Man movie set that came out. It's from Spider-Man 2, but it has comic characters on it. I can't find it for the life of me now. And I just something about it. I'm just not sure it's kosher. That makes sense. Here we go.
I hate to give you this editing to do, but it looks like I'm gonna have to leave in the next couple of minutes.
Ah, that's okay. That's okay. So that one there.
I mean, you guys can definitely keep going, but I'm gonna
Well,
have to.
well, my friend, we've been going an hour and a half. So why don't I say, Barry, if you need to leave us, I think we've answered almost all of your questions, and Alan and I can just sail this ship into land. Does that sound good to you?
Yeah, this has been wonderful.
Mate, I'm glad we finally get to talk because you've been in the group for a while, and because you go by roll with them, it's like it's such a crazy
Yeah,
internet pseudonym. It's difficult to associate the person behind
I've
it,
been
I
having
guess.
that since the Prodigy days. I've
Wow,
had that pseudonym since I
Yeah.
was 13 years old. So
wow,
it's been a long time, yeah.
wow, wow,
And
wow, wow, wow.
I joined the group I think in November of 2020, and
Yeah,
it's
you've
been
been
quite a
around a
ride.
while. Yeah, definitely. Well, listen, this Daredevil card is yours, my friend.
Oh,
So whether you choose to collect
thank
the
you
rest
so
of them,
much.
it's up to you. Gorgeous. Alan, stay on the line. Barry, have a great
Bye,
day.
guys.
Love to
Thank
your wife.
you.
It was good meeting you, Roll.
Later.
Right, Alan. It's just you and me, my friend.
Let's
It's just
roll.
you and me. What else can I tell you? What else can we talk about? Right.
Yeah.
What I'm just looking at the list of questions. What are your PC goals? I think that was one of yours.
Yeah, I believe that was one of mine.
Uh,
Like I kind of said a little earlier, as of right now, I probably might just stick with official and sketch cards, and then of course, as I, start checking off that list rapidly,
yeah,
uh, I guess you just kind of got to fill the void, and then you just
yeah,
start stretching out,
yeah.
or do you just set something? Do you have anything that's just kind of clearly defined, or you just kind of go with the flow and adjust as needed?
Um, well, this kind of ties into one of Barry's questions about how do you choose which parallels to chase.
Mhm.
So what I find is that how much you're prepared to spend will be your
Yes.
first limit, whether you want to or not. So when we were talking on Messenger the other day. What did you tell me about your sketch kind of limit that you've got?
I just so I just literally recently in the past few weeks even just dove into sketch cards, and so I've seen I probably butcher his name, Kursat Setinar,
I think so. Yes, I would have butchered it as well, but yes.
but he Ash Gonzalez, some of the more noble ones. I've just seen some of their stuff, and of course on eBay, some of them are going 4 digits and whatnot, and I'm like,
Mm,
I love it. It just looks beautiful. I would love to own it, but I just don't do it. So I just set myself a self-imposed $150 limit for a single sketch card at the moment, and I'm just going to use this to kind of get an evaluation and personal feeling for values and what I'm really comfortable with.
yeah.
Because I just could see it spiraling
Yes.
very fast if I, just went after, everything that caught my eye.
Yeah. And it will happen. I remember, where's the case for these top trump statements? Sorry, just put this in here. Now, pity the Hulk collector, because the Hulk is on the back of every single one of these top trumps cards. So, and at that point, I guess you've got to ask yourself, maybe I should just focus on what's on the front of the card.
Right.
I've never really had that issue. Yeah, sketch cards. I was kind of almost buying everything I could see, and in some cases making poor purchase choices because I was slinging them on a credit card, what have you. So yeah, you've got to be quite disciplined with that, which is difficult with sketch cards. Once you get the taste for them, it's kind
Yeah,
of it's kind of like that you might never see it again.
exactly. Yes.
So you got to be careful with that. And one thing I will say is that not in all cases, but a lot of stuff does come around again.
Yeah, I did hear that on another podcast, and
Yeah,
yeah,
it really does.
I've kind of had a little bit of the got to get now. It's possibly my last chance time, and I've had to sit and think on a few things, and like, nah, just wait it out. Maybe
Yeah.
it'll come back at a more reasonable price, or or when I'm just in a little better position to be able to spend that money for it.
Mm.
Just just kind of pace yourself, basically.
You've got it. It's a marathon, not a sprint. That's what you got to
Yes,
remember
yes. Mhm.
with this stuff. In terms of goals, I mean, I've got the list, and that is kind of if I see something that's official, I'd add it to the list. So I guess my goal is always to be able to acquire as many items that are on the list as possible. But I
Yep.
know that I'm never going to own. So, for example, on my list is the Red Spectrum Black Cat from Marvel Masterpieces 2016. I know I'm
Yes.
never going to own that card, but that list isn't, although I reflect what I own on that list, the list is designed to be, okay, what is out there? What's out there, what's possible. And based on that, I can do some crazy stuff like this.
Uh,
Isn't that bonkers?
yeah.
So you know how much stuff is out there,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you
You
know how
got
much you got.
you got that list kind of knocked down a pretty good bit there.
Oh, mate, it's always right evolving. Right, so here we are. You're a big fan of Marvel Annual this year, aren't you?
Yeah, actually, like I said, just got back in this year, so
Yeah.
this is my first even delved into annual period. Yeah, I kind of loved it
Mm.
right off the bat.
So I haven't updated this to include Marvel Annual, and the reason I haven't done
Yeah.
that is because Black Cat isn't in the set,
Except for on
except that
that
she is,
artist.
because she is on the comic cover used in the background of 4 base cards. Now, and that doesn't mean that I just need to go for the base card that has the comic
Yeah.
background on, because on the back of the card, and this will be on every single parallel, I think, apart from maybe
Yeah.
a few of them, there is that same image of the front cover. So in Marvel Annual 2021-22, She is on card 95, White Fox, card 87, Thena, card 37, Iron Man, and Curse and Spit, number 93, Venom.
Oh man, yeah, that's
So
gonna be a fun one.
yeah, quite frankly, that sucks balls. She's also on the comic cover image used on the Peter David autograph card,
Mhm.
and I
Yeah, I believe I
believe
actually posted that, and you like, hey, zoom in on that for me real quick.
that's right. I couldn't remember because I know Greg had sent it to me via PM
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, so that's I haven't gone into. I need to post a on group actually and just ask for folks to now that people seem to a lot of people because there was a lot of stuff out there with blasters and boxes. Yeah, it hasn't
Mhm.
even hit EPAC, and a lot of people are kind of done,
Yeah, yeah. I'm kind of
which
petering
is
it out
great.
myself a little.
Yeah. So, I figured there might be some dupes floating around that folk will have. So, I mean, I opened one box and I think I've managed to get. I think I've got base Iron Man. I can't remember where it is now. Anyway, um, but yeah,
I opened a lot of annuals, so if you shoot me a list,
I'll shoot you that list, my
we can
friend,
probably
if you've
work
got any.
something out.
Yeah, if you've got any, that'd be appreciated. There is some stuff. One thing, the final thing I'll say before we start to wrap up is that your best asset for being a character collector is the community.
Yes.
So there are cards that I never knew existed, and I didn't find them anywhere. This is an example of it. It's Marvel Ultimate Battles. It's an upper deck one.
Hmm.
It's a super ultra rare. So I think it was Ultimate Battles. It was a upper deck. I think it was an early attempt they did at a TCG before they got Legendary coming on. It's a foil one with Nightcrawler.
Oh, that's nice.
And I didn't even know that. And it's beautiful foil as well. Look at that. I didn't even know that existed. And then someone commented in the group.
Mhm.
And I was like, okay. And then someone else actually tracked it down for me. So,
Yeah, I've seen a lot of
yeah,
people tagging others that are known collectors,
yeah,
and and just alerting them that either a card they might be looking for is available,
yeah,
or just seeing if they
yeah,
they know about that.
yeah.
So yeah, the community, yeah, I've seen how they step in and
Mm,
aid a lot in
mm,
this.
mm. The final thing I will say is that there is a slight curse to being a character collector, otherwise known as a character tax.
Oh yeah.
If someone knows that you're after that character and they are less inclined to be helpful and they're just they know they can earn a few extra pence off it, then unfortunately that will happen. Um, so I'll leave it to you to navigate those waters because in some cases you'll be like, maybe I don't want to deal with this person, and and you
Yeah.
might choose not to. So yeah, that will definitely happen.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I've heard. Yeah, some people are even reluctant to even mention their character for
mhm.
that particular reason.
Yeah, yeah.
Haven't seen any evidence of it in the group, or by
Happens a little
myself.
bit. Yeah, it happens a little bit. You can usually see it if someone's priced something up. Sorry, excuse me, I've just got to wipe my nose. If someone's priced some stuff up and you'll see a list of characters and then all of a sudden you'll see your girl and you'll notice you can see it next to similar tier characters who are also female.
Yeah,
And yet you'll see I've seen more than once someone list out prices for stuff and it'll have Jean Grey at $60 and it'll have Black Cat at 90
yeah.
simply because they
It's like,
know I'm in the
okay,
group.
this is kind of
I've seen
evident.
that, because Jean Grey, I would argue, is probably more popular than Black Cat,
Yeah.
in some cases. The other thing you will find on your journey, and this is with the best lists in the world, you'll end up with lots of what I call duplicates. So this is extra stuff, Black Cat, that I've acquired over the years, and some of it's pretty tasty. There's an extra exquisite from Marvel Gems, for example. So, and some of it is from the European sets that I collect. There's foil variants. There's all sorts. Some of it is because I happen to just have multiple copies of it on e-pack, so I got it shipped over. Like,
Right.
the dog tags, Marvel Dossier dog tags, on
Oh,
Upper Deck. Have you ever
never
seen
seen
those?
those before. No,
Yeah,
never.
Marvel Dossier. Have a look at that. It's an Upper Deck set that came out, I want to say 10 years ago. It's really obscure. Um, and you kind of look at it and think, what was the thinking behind it? I think it could have just been a retail set that came out for like Walmart or something like that.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, Marvel
Actually, I
Dossier.
have heard that name, Dossier,
Yeah,
but I never saw the dog tags for sure.
yeah, yeah. The dog tags are in there. So yeah, and and also the other thing you might want to do is just consider, you know, if you want to set yourself some boundaries in terms of numbered cards.
Hmm.
So you might not want to go anything below 50 in terms of rarity.
I kind of had that rule already in place, but obviously, well, with annual, I did acquire one purple diamond out of a box, one of one. I have ran across a few of the clears, which are of 10, and I have a number of holograms, which are of 22.
Nice.
And most likely right now, if I can find the holograms, clears, or luck up on a purple diamond at a good price, I'll snag it. Kind of mostly I'm kind of, acquiring trade bait because
Mm,
my goal is to acquire the golds, the full set of the golds. Everything
nice.
else is just kind of a plus at that point.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um, so yeah,
yeah.
but outside of this or anything else that I'm trying to go, as close to a master set as possible, I do kind of stay 50 and higher. Just like with my bishop, I did find some pinks and red PMGs out of the X-Men metal, and I think I saw a green. I was like, do I really want to, step that? Now I believe there's a purple one of one in that
Mm,
set. And so, I'm kind of like you. I've just kind of checked that one off the list. Like, yeah, I might not ever own that.
yeah,
But if it's in the wild at a affordable,
yeah,
venture in my life,
yeah,
I'll do it. But I'm not going to break my neck or really stress myself about, collecting that.
yeah. That's the thing. If you give yourself too much stress over it, then it just stops being fun after a while, which is a real shame. Um, but here's a rabbit hole one. Okay, so are you familiar with the Rittenhouse Archives case toppers that were sealed in these gold seals?
Yes, I actually was looking into some of those at one point, and I just couldn't find a good set for a good price, and so I just kind of jumped out of that.
Yeah, they're pretty scarce. I think I've got one spare one somewhere. Anyway, this is from Marvel. I want to say Marvel's 70th, but I might be wrong. It could be another one. Anyway, so CT1, CT2, CT3, and they
Hmm.
form one big picture. They're
Yeah.
numbered out of they're numbered out of 333, and because I got these all from the same dealer, they're all numbered 137 out of 333, which
Nice.
is
Oh,
really
that's
tricky to do.
that's a bonus right there.
Right. So, see my girl?
Yeah, buddy.
Mhm. So I was decided to offload this set, and these case toppers were in it. I suddenly spotted her, and I was like, ah, and then I turned them over,
In the back. Oh,
the
you got the
full
whole
image.
picture on the
So
back.
I have to
Yep.
keep all three of them, and
The curse.
that is it. You see, so it's kind of like you got to say, and I've got the same. There was a case topper set of 5 for another set, and she's on one of them. But on the
Mhm.
back of it, it's not one image, but on the back of it, it has a small image of all 5 case toppers.
Mm.
So I've got to get CTs 2, 3, 4, and 5. Shadow boxes. Is your boy being on shadow boxes?
Not to my
I
knowledge. I
can't
have
remember
seen
seeing
them in
them.
one of the stack sets for sure.
Yes, he's on stacks. Fear X-Men stacks.
I believe so. Yeah, I
Yeah,
was I was looking through that. I believe I said I don't know if I put that in my cart or not yet. I think
yeah,
that
yeah,
was the
yeah.
next one that I was gonna kind of delve into as well as Flare Ultra Avengers.
Hmm.
I started kind of glancing at those, and probably after we get off, I might go back on and look and pull the trigger on them.
I'll tell you a set Bishop might be in. He might have a color box from Marvel Premiere, which is a shadow box card. So that's
Okay. Yeah, I haven't looked at
yeah,
any Premiere stuff at all.
yeah.
Like yeah. Like as far as which I said, most of my stuff is master sets from the '90s.
Mm.
Um,
That's the
Fluoro
thing.
to X-Men.
You want to build your list, my friend.
Yeah. So yeah, with this knowledge here, and I do need to get efficient with Excel, or you said like the Google
Google
Drive
Sheets.
list too.
Yeah, you can use
So
Google Sheets. So it's basically Excel, but it's Google's version of it, and it's free,
okay.
and it's online as well.
So yeah, I'll definitely be looking to familiarize myself with that and start because yeah, it was kind of hectic just going off of memory and flipping back through different
Yeah,
websites and stuff. So that
yeah, yeah,
would
yeah. It will be.
definitely aid.
90s promos as well. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
I've got a handful of promos through things too, and so yeah, that'll be another little bit of a rabbit hole too.
yeah. 90s promos. I guarantee that he'll some of those 4 and 6 and 9 card uncut sheets, the
Actually, the
90s sets.
'94 X-Men, when I was cleaning up, I acquired a bunch of promos from Tommy Speakman,
Oh yeah,
and it just peeked out, and I was like, "Hey, yeah, there's Bishop right there on the edge of the '94 set on that promo sheet." So yeah,
Tommy hooked me up with some a really cool array of Star Trek holograms recently in another group, and I was like,
Mhm.
"Ooh, hello." Um, but here I've just dropped loads of Spider-Man cards on the floor. That's upsetting. I have some uncut promos. So let's just have a very quick look through these, just to see if your boy's on them. So that's Marvel Flair Annual. He's not on there. I'll spoil that for you
No.
straight away. So he's not on there. What have we got here? We have, okay, so these were in comic books. They
Mhm.
were 94 Fleer Ultra things, and they went through the staples in the middle of the books.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So this is
So yeah.
Cyclops and Jean Grey.
Hmm.
I don't know if he's in any of those images. I
No.
can't see him.
No, he's not with most of the
No.
original teams type stuff.
Now that's a Spider-Man one, so he's not going to be on there. There's another Spider-Man one. He's not going to be on there. Got Milk. He's not on that one. Marvel Metal. Nope. Marvel Metal is a beautiful 4 card promo, but
Yep.
Bishop isn't on that.
Yeah, he's clear on that one.
So he's clear on that one. There we go. We've got more here.
Let's
There's the
see.
Star Wars ones. We don't want those. Yeah, there's so many of these. It's ridiculous. So yeah,
Let's
but
see.
don't forget the promos.
I,
Basically,
I
what?
got the little set I got from Tommy right here, and I think, yep, here we go. He's in the bottom
Nice.
bottom corner down there.
There he is. That's a
Yep.
beautiful, beautiful painting as well.
Yeah. That's I believe that is that Ray Lago. Oh
I
no,
think I think
Tristan.
uh, it's bloody good. Whoever it is,
Yeah.
that set's got
Dude,
some crazy artwork in it.
that has actually '94 Flair Ultra X-Men is that's probably one of my all-time favorite sets. I love just so much of the art in it, and of course it was back in the day when I got started,
Mm,
and it's one of the ones that really drew me into
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
collecting.
yeah, yeah. I imagine. I don't know if I've got any more wisdom to impart right at this moment. I feel kind of wisdomed out. Um, I'm sure there are other character collectors who've probably got advice that you might want to throw into the pot. So
Mhm.
um, we may well end up doing a part 2 on this one
Okay,
at some
yeah.
point, which will be quite a lot of fun. Um, do you hang out on Instagram? Any of those things?
Actually, literally last night I finally made an Instagram
Hey,
because I know there's a lot of stuff. I was like, I'll just quit being difficult and I'll just go ahead and do it. So I'm just now getting started. Don't have anything posted, but of course I
okay.
followed Ash and a handful of people right off the
Oh,
bat.
cool.
And so yeah, I'll be slowly integrating myself into that sphere.
Uh, um, now I know we were going to I think Barry said the Pandora's box that is sketch cards.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll go. I don't think we'll do sketch cards this time. So there you go. There's a straight away. There's a next episode. If you're going to go into that.
That'll be a good save for you.
Yeah.
Follow up.
He's also asked, how do you navigate the other people who PC your character? Once you get an idea of the collecting landscape, I hunt them down and end them. No, not really.
Highlander, there can only be one.
Yeah. And to grade or not to grade, and also displaying. So yeah, there is quite a lot that we haven't touched
those
on.
will definitely would be good for a follow-up episode.
Yeah, we'll definitely do a follow-up one of these, which you're welcome back to. But I know that you go away for work for quite a long period. So
like I said, it's not impossible for me to participate when I'm on the road. It might be a little coordinating, but I do have free time while I'm out and about.
All right. Well, we'll figure it out. Do you go the length and breadth of the US when you're doing those jobs?
I go. I've touched all 48 states.
Wow. Okay. You'll go where they pay you, I guess.
Yeah, I follow the money. That's it.
Otherwise, you're not going to be able to afford
with the exception of New York City and California. California, my truck's too old. They don't like me out there. And New York City, it's just, I don't want that headache.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, going anywhere into that is it can be frisky. All right, my friend. I'm going to wrap us up. You're going to have our sign out in a moment because Barry's buggered off. So just want to prepare you for that mentally because I'm sure you've got it written down somewhere.
Yep.
In the meantime, I will say to those listening, to those watching, thank you very much for being here this week. Thank you to Barry who's left us. Thank you to Alan. Thank you for coming on. And also, if you dig this, like, share, subscribe on YouTube and on your podcast provider of choice. Reviews are always welcome on our Facebook or on your podcast platform. And until next time, Alan, you know what we say at the end of each episode?
Enjoy collecting.
Thanks for listening to the Marvel Card Collectors podcast. Tasting notes and visuals for each episode can be found on our Facebook page. We're on most social media at the MCC Pod, and you can also watch the video of each episode recording on our YouTube channel. Leave us a voicemail via our home on anchor.fm/MCCP. We're also on iTunes, Spotify, and all major podcast platforms. Please take a second to subscribe, like, and review our show wherever you find us. Our Facebook community is at MCCW Marvel Card Collectors Worldwide and MMC Marvel Masterpieces Collectors. The great music we use on our audio version is called Rocket Power by Kevin MacLeod. Thanks to the collectors, artists and creators who support the Marvel Cards Fan Collective. We'll see you next time, and remember, it's a small hobby but a fun one. Make mine Marvel and enjoy collecting.